Myself, PV Sondakke. I have been working here in this institute since 6 years, and I'll be teaching this IoT subject since 2 years back. Because for ENTC students, this is a new subject, being the part of elective subject. And my area of interests are the computer network security and the IoT. So before starting with the actual content of the IoT subject, let me tell you some basic important information you should know about this particular subject. The very first thing, you should know about what is the teaching scheme and the examination scheme for this specific subject. So for the theoretical subject, the teaching scheme will be having a 3 hours per week. Practicals are 2 hours a week. And if I'm talking about the practical sessions, so it will be IoT is covered below the lab practice 2, which is nothing but a combination of VLSI subject plus elective one. So elective ones, in this our case, it is IoT. So total term work will be provided to 50 for both the subject, but for IoT it is 25 marks. And let me tell you one thing, this particular term work is not the internal term work, it is an external term work which was assessed by the external examiners. Okay, so it carries total 25 marks. Next one, for the examination scheme, so 30 marks will be provided for in-sem examination and 70 marks will be provided to the final end-sem examination. Along with the term work, total 50 marks term works will be provided for the lab practice 2 head. So out of that, 25 marks belonging to your elective one, that is the IoT. Okay, but what is expected in a practical examination, I'll be telling you soon. Okay, once we are on that particular slide. Okay, so after this examination scheme, let me start my session with what are the course objectives, isn't it? Now the course objectives are the specific statements or necessary conditions which was provided by the University of Pune, okay, for this specific course. Now very first course objective is to understand the state of art of the IoT network protocols, architecture and application. As you are very much newer to this Internet of Things subject, you should able to know or understand what is this IoT concept, okay, what is the state of the art of this subject, what are the different architectures, protocols associated with it, and based on it, how we can develop a certain applications, certain real-time applications that would be suitable for the societal use. Okay, so that is the first objective, to learn this particular subject. The second objective is to list the layers of IoT and duties of each layer. So if you are aware about the networking terminology, such as a computer networking, if suppose transmitter wants to communicate with the receiver, they needs to follow certain rules, certain protocols. The set of rules will be considered as a protocol. So for both the parties, they need to follow certain rules. So in this case, IoT will be having their own stack or the layers. Just like in your computer networks, you have the ISO OSI layer, TCP IP layer. Okay, in the same way, we have in our IoT total different layers. So each layer will perform their own duties or responsibilities to communicate the data from source to the destination, isn't it? Now this is your second layer. Third one is to provide students with the theoretical and practical base in IoT issues and challenges. Once you are aware about the theoretical concept and some of the practical concept, you should able to focus more on current issues in a society and how we are going to provide the solution. So we can say it is the issues and the challenges in a IoT domain. Okay, and based on that, you can provide your real-time solution to it. Got it? Next one, to understand the basic working principle of IoT sensors and actuators. So let me tell you one thing. What is IoT and what are the three main important blocks of IoT? isn't it? Now IoT stands for Internet of Things. Internet is the first word. Everybody is aware about what is meant by internet, isn't it? So internet is nothing but is the abbreviated form of internetworking, isn't it? So more devices can be interconnecting with each other via certain medias. That might be wired media or that might be wireless medias, and they can communicating with each other. They are trying to sending and receiving the messages via these mediums. Okay, so this will be considered as the internet. Okay, all the devices are physically as well as virtually connected to each other and capable of sending and receiving the data real timely, and that will be considered as a internet. But what is of thing? Internet of things, isn't it? Now I am just relating this IoT with the computer networks. In a computer networks, what happened? Computers are connected to each other. They will be form a certain the basic physical look, we can say that, or the network topology in a specific network topology, isn't it? So how they are going to connect with each other? Okay, so computers are connected to each other and sharing the information, just like we are sending and receiving the emails or this video conferencing or audio conferencing. Okay, the devices, computers are connected to each other and sharing the information, isn't it? In the same way, IoT requires input device. These are nothing but IoT sensors. Okay, these sensors are capable of getting the information from the environment with different parameters or physical constraint, and those will be sent to the respective IoT development boards. And the working of IoT development board is to process all these raw data sent by the sensor and find or extract some meaningful information from it. And once it is being processed, you can send that particular signal to actuate something. So that is why at the last we have the actuator. So your first point is you should have the IoT sensors. The second point, you should have the IoT development boards, and you should have the third, that is output devices. These are the actuators. Got it? So you should able to understand the basic working principle of IoT sensors and actuator. How IoT sensor works, isn't it? How actuators works, how you can interface these sensors, actuators with the IoT development platforms. Got it? And the last objective is to understand the transmission methods underlying WSN and WPN technologies. Now WSN is nothing but your wireless sensor network. If all the devices are connected to each other, in this case we are considering the device as a node, wireless node, and we are going to means the nodes are connected to each other with a wireless medium, such as suppose Bluetooth or Zigbee or Wi-Fi or WiMAX. These are the some of the wireless enabled technologies used to communicating from one device to other device. Or we can have the another technology, WPAN, that is wireless personal area network. So if I am sharing suppose Wi-Fi connectivity with 2 to 3 different laptops or mobile phones, so it will form one small wireless personal area network, isn't it? So you should be able to know these wireless enabled technologies to understand the concept of IoTs. Now after the course objective, now very important part, as we are following the NBA norm, that is the National Board of Accreditation. Okay, we need certain outcomes from our course. So for this IoT course, we have framed certain course outcome statements. So what happen if you have learned this particular subject in this particular semester? What should be your outcome after learning these particular subject? Okay, so based on that, we have framed here 6 statements, CO statements. So each statement based on each individual unit of IoT. So very first CO statement is belonging to your unit number 1 in IoT subject. The first statement is student will be able to understand the various concepts, terminologies and architecture of IoT system. So as I told you that you are not aware about this particular technology yet. Okay. So once you are aware about the technologies, what you need to do, you should able to understand various basic terminologies or concept regarding the architecture of IoT system. Means what? How you can use this system, what is the actual architecture, how you can adopt this particular architecture and design your own application. Now take an example. I want to build a small IoT automated home automation system. Simple. What I need to do, I need to simply turn on the fan or turn on the lights or turn it off. Now how you can use the existing IoT architecture for designing of the home automation, isn't it? So that is why the first basic the CO statement, you should able to understand the various concepts or terminologies associated with these IoT platforms. Okay. Now your second statement is belonging to the student will be able to know the roles of IoT sensors and actuators. They understand their principle of operation designed for IoT. As I told you that without sensor, IoT will not work, isn't it? Just like a human, okay? We have total 5 senses. With these senses, we can able to get certain information from the outside world. In the same way, if you want to make a device smarter, we need to interface multiple sensors to that particular device, so that each and every sensor provides certain relevant information regarding the environment to the microcontroller board or IoT development board. And now IoT development board will able to process that particular information and it will going to actuate or perform specific task, which is depends on your application, what you are developing. Got it? Now, in that case, your second statement is related to you should know the roles of IoT sensor. Okay. So you should know what is the specification of sensor that you are using. Are there varieties of sensors are available? What is the precision of that particular sensors? How accurate is the output provided by the sensors? So these are the varieties of parameters through which we are going to find out the quality of the sensor, and you need to choose one of them that is best suited for your application. Not only the sensor, in the same way you can go for selection of actuators, isn't it? Now actuators are nothing but your output devices. Okay, it might be your relays or any kind of specific motors, or you can have your LCD devices. Okay, these are the different actuators. So you should know the working functionality of all these actuators and sensors also. Okay, means you should know their principle of operation that is required for designing of your real-time applications. Got it? All of you, the second CO statement is regarding your sensors and the actuators. The third CO statement is regarding the student will be able to understand various wireless enabled technologies involved in the IoT. Okay, so we are having lots of wireless enabled technologies around us, or NFCs. Okay, so how you should be able to know all these wireless enabled technologies? WiMAX, LoRa, these are the current latest technologies available to you, and based on that you need to learn all these wireless enabled technologies, their working principles, how they are working in a detailed way, and how we can incorporate these technologies into your application, isn't it? So that based on that is your third CO statements. Okay, the student will be able to understand various wireless enabled technologies involved in the IoT. Now take an example. If you are not aware about the Wi-Fi, okay, so Wi-Fi is nothing but it is the basic service set with access point. BSS with access point means we have a centralized hub, and that will be considered as your Wi-Fi router, and all the devices are connected to that access point wirelessly, isn't it? So we can say it is a BSS, basic service set with access point. Okay, and that will be considered as the infrastructural network. Okay, the BSS with access point will be considered as the infrastructural network, but we can also have the ad hoc network also. Okay, ad hoc network means, suppose I have the mobile phones, two mobile phones, and I'm exchanging the information via Bluetooth. It doesn't require any kind of intermediate access point. What I'll be doing, I'll simply send some request to the other mobile. So mutually, it will be accepting that request and receiving that particular message. Got it? So in that case, no access point or intermediator requires. So in that case, that network will be called as ad hoc network, isn't it? So that we are going to discuss in details under the Wi-Fi 802.11, IEEE 802.11, Bluetooth IEEE 802.15.4, Wi-Fi, WiMAX, all these are wireless enabled technology. Pardon, sorry. So in CO3, statement is related to your third unit, and that is belonging to, we are going to study various wireless enabled technologies. Sorry. Next one is your CO4, that is related to your unit number 4, and the statement is student will be able to understand various IP based protocols for IoT. So before proceeding to this, let me ask you one question. How many of you are aware about the IP, that is Internet Protocol? So can you tell me certain protocols associated with the applications you are using? Take an example, simple example. If you are sending email to your friend, so are you aware about the protocols used for in your email address system? Or simple, if you are sending a message using WhatsApp application, which protocol is used in a WhatsApp or Facebook? Yes, write in a comment box. HTTPS, very good. HTTPS is the protocol for, yes, browsing the data. Okay, these are the protocols utilized for your computer networking. Okay? Hypertext transfer protocol, isn't it? IMAP, good. IMAP, again, IMAP is one of the popular protocol for email configuration. Again, MQTT, very good. MQTT, but it is not for WhatsApp messages. SMTP, yes, it is in an email, but in MQTT we can have the publish subscriber kind of module. Okay, but for strictly in WhatsApp we are using XMPP. Have you heard about it? XMPP, yes, very good. XMPP is a extensible messaging and presence protocol, isn't it? So not only you are going to send and receive the messages, but also you can able to find out whether your friend is currently live or present or not in that particular application. And also you are getting the acknowledgement with the help of two blue ticks. That is a kind of application, means your receiver have already read your message. Okay, that is the acknowledgement you are getting. It's a reliable kind of communication. Got it? So in this way you are able to know various protocols associated with the IoT. Okay, so in computer networks we are having varieties of protocols associated. Okay, those are different: TCP, UDP, SCTP, SMTP. Okay, these are the varieties of protocols. POP3. But here in IoT we have different kinds of protocol: MQTT, AMQT, then we can have XMPP, then COAP. Okay, these are the certain names associated with IoT. So you need to learn all these protocols very detailedly. Got it? So you should know, if I want to design this particular application, take an example, I want to design the video conferencing application. So which protocol will be suited for this particular application tool, isn't it? So once you know the details of the protocol, then and then only you can choose one of them. In a simple way, we can say that I have variety, I need to purchase different phones, mobile phones. Okay, so I need to first check the configuration of each and every phone. In the same way, if I want to utilize a specific protocol to my application, I should know each and everything regarding all the protocols or all the hardware development boards. Got it? Now let us move ahead with your CO5, that is related to the your unit number 5, the student will be able to understand the data handling, storage and analytical tools for cloud. Now, how many of you can tell me what is meant by cloud? If you want to ask, if you want to share your comment regarding this, you can raise the hand as well, isn't it? What is cloud, and have you heard about certain tools that will be able to use for the data handling, storage and analytics? Or simply you can write in your chat box. Hadoop, very good. Sharad Pawar, yes, good. Hadoop is a very popular name and the tool for analyzing the huge amount of data on a cloud. Okay, the Spark. Okay, Spark is a kind of, yes, very good. So it means you are aware about certain tools. Those will be responsible for analyzing your data. Generally, what happen? Now, take an example. You have total, suppose each individual will be having 5 to 6 smart devices with you. Suppose you are having your mobile phones, or you can have your the bands, your smart bands, okay, your smart watches, smart specs. Okay, so these are the all the what you can say smart devices. Those are directly connected to the cloud. Okay, on a cloud you are getting certain services not only related to the software but also related to the hardware also. Okay, so your data will be, your data clusters will be broadcasted and stored on your data storage. Okay, so all these unstructured data will be collected by on a cloud, and certain applications, certain algorithms will be executed. Okay, and these algorithms will be able to convert your unstructured data into structured data, and systematically it will be stored into the cloud storage memory. Okay, and based on that we can have varieties of analytics on your data, and you are predict certain things based on the data received. Got it? So we are going to discuss varieties of the data storage and analytical tools in your 5th unit. Okay, and last CO statement 6 is related to your case studies or applications of IoT. The student will be able to explain various applications of IoT. So means what? When you are going to apply your IoT knowledge, unless and until you are getting the basic information of what is IoT, what are the different kinds of sensors available, what are the different IoT development boards are available, what are the different IoT cloud platforms are available, and how you are going to utilize it for your developing a certain application. Got it? And then only you can utilize it for different applications. So let me tell you few simple applications of IoT. Now take an example. I want to monitor the patient activities. Okay, so in medical domain, okay, I need to monitor the different patient activities. Okay, so I can use varieties of sensors that can be connected to the patient. Okay, and we'll be going to measure the real-time data received from the sensors on your mobile phone or on your doctor's the display board, isn't it? Now, if I'm talking about not only for the medical sessions, but for agriculture field, now the details about the soil or crops, okay, or the productivity, all the data will be real timely shared by the sensors onto your mobile phone via the clouds. Okay, so if I'm talking about the IoT development boards, how many of you are aware about the IoT developments? Yes, you have stated few of them. Yes, can you write it some IoT development boards that you aware about it or you have worked on it in your mini projects? Write it in a comment box. Now this is your last CO statement. So you should be able to design certain applications of IoT based on these hardware platforms as well as software platforms. Okay, so let me explain the new. Now these are the some of the glimpses of your units. Unit 1, Unit 2, actual content syllabus provided by SPPU. In your first unit, you can have the fundamentals of your IoT, or the definition, the characteristics of IoT, architecture of IoT, physical and logical design of IoT, enable technologies IoT, the history or evolution in IoT, the identifiers in IoT, and IoT frameworks, and the difference between IoT and machine-to-machine communication. That is M2M, isn't it? So machine-to-machine communication, we cannot say it's IoT kind of thing. Only machine will talk to the other machine, isn't it? But in IoT, any device can talk to any destination device if they are connected with the internet. The machine to machine is a locally connected two devices. They cannot have the global connectivity, so they cannot send their data at the outside network. In second unit, you can have varieties of sensor. That is understanding of sensor network, means how you are going to define sensor, what are the types of sensors, what are the types of actuators, then some of the examples of how they are working it on which technology, what is the working principle of the sensors, then the some of them it is mentioned the RFID principles, okay, the components, then wireless sensor network WSN, the node connecting, okay, the network node, wireless sensor node, and IoT. Okay, so means in brief you can say that you need to understand various sensors and actuators associated with IoT. So just like I have shown you earlier, each CO statement will be based on each units. Okay, so see your second statement is related to the student will be able to know the role of IoT sensors and actuators. So because your second unit is related to your sensor network. Now, the third unit is related to your wireless enabled technologies in IoT. So, in this, we are going to discuss IEEE 802.15.4, the Bluetooth, that is the Zigbee, HART, NFC, Z-Wave, BLE, that is Bluetooth Low Enable Energy, the BACnet, and Modbus. That will be a part of your third unit. So, all the wireless enabled technologies associated with the IoT will be going to discuss. After that, your fourth unit is based on your IP-based protocols for IoT, isn't it? So the protocols only associated with the IoT, we are focusing on those. So IP version 6, currently we are using this in computer networks also. Okay, the IP version 4 as well as IP version 6. But why we have moved from IP version 4 to IP version 6? Because having certain restrictions, okay, certain kinds of advanced securities will be provided in IP version 4. Not only that, but also the address space provided by IP version 6 is more than IP version 4. How? Because the size of IP version 4 is 32-bit wide. Okay, so how many IP addresses can be generated? That is 2 raised to 32. Okay, in IP version 4. The size of IP version 6 is 128 bits. So how many IP addresses can be generated in IP version 4? So 2 raised to 128 is a huge count, huge count. That's why the address, we want more addresses, because suppose on a globe, every individual want the internet connectivity. They want one unique IP address. So how the internet service provider assign the IP address? If they are having a more IP address space with them, isn't it? Now, if you are calculating the IP address space of IP version 4, so 2 raised to 32 is a very small count. So if you are providing the IP address to each and every customer, you are getting this, your IP address are not sufficient so that every user can adopt it, isn't it? So that's why we want to go for IP version 6, because every individual will soon getting at least 4 to 5 smart gadgets with them. So each and every gadget will be having one unique IP address, isn't it? And very soon we'll be approaching towards the new naming system, addressing system, because the IP version 6 is also no more usable once every individual will be getting 5 to 6 smart devices or gadgets with them. So we want the requirement of more IP addresses. Next one is 6LoWPAN. Okay, so this is a particular protocol used IP version 6, but it uses a low power and it will generate or create a personal area network, isn't it? Where few devices are trying to communicating with each other. Why I am talking about this the low? What is the significance of this low energy? Yes, can anybody tell me why we needed the low power energy? Next one, in your fifth unit, as I mentioned earlier in your CO statements, we are going to discuss what is this data handling and analytical tools. Okay, we're going to discuss about what is a big data, because big data is again one of the separate, what you can say, the separate kind of structure, isn't it? Where varieties of researchers are working on this particular domain. Okay, in this way we are going to discuss the types of data, characteristics, the flow of data, the data acquisition, storage, and we're going to discuss certain applications. So Hadoop is one of the popular application or tool through which we are going to, yes, apply varieties of analyticals and statistical models in your data. Got it? And final one, the applications of IoT. In this particular applications of IoT, so now see, there are varieties of applications are listed here. The home automation, smart cities, energy, retail management, logistics, agriculture, health and style, the lifestyle, industrial IoT. Means what I'm going to tell you that we are going to take varieties of case studies one by one, at least one case study from each applications, and we're going to discuss in details in your last unit, that is applications of IoT. Got it, all of you? Now the next part is, as you're aware about the your syllabus, you'll never get the whole syllabus in a single textbook. Okay, so I have mentioned here few textbooks through which you are getting a part of the syllabus. Okay, so I'll be sharing you the soft copies of each books, as well as whatever the material I'll be having with, okay, on your Google Classroom. Okay, so today or tomorrow I'll be sharing the link of that particular Google Classroom, so that you'll be getting all the details of it. Okay, what is the study material I'll be having with the previous question papers, then your writing materials, that is your assignments, your practical assignments. Okay, everything will be available with the your Google Classrooms. Okay, so the very first textbook is a Hakima Chowsi, the Internet of Things, connecting objects to the web. I have the soft copy of this. I'll be sharing it on the cloud. The Internet of Things, the Key Application and Protocols by Oliver Hersent. Okay, again, it's a good book. Third one is a Vijay Matseti. Okay, the Internet of Things hands-on approach. Now again, this one is again very much popular book in IoT domain. Not only the textbook, we are having some set of reference books, and one of them is very much popular, that is Daniel Minoli, specifically for IP and IP version 6 or MIP version 6. So M stands for mobile. Okay, mobile IP version 6. Have you heard about this mobile IP version 6? It is not your mobile phone. Huh? Okay, it is not your mobile phone. Here the mobile term means your, what you can say, this terminology is for if you are moving from one distance, one point to other point. Okay, in that way your IP is moving way. It is not your related IP of mobile phones. Okay, so I'll be sharing all the contents to you on your Google Classroom. Okay, nothing to worry. Now the very important part, that is nothing but your lab practice 2, that is the experimentations of IoT. So what you need to do, what is actually expected from your side, we are actually having certain list of experiments. You need to perform all these experiments, but examiner will want the small mini project that you can implement on your IoT development board. You can also do one thing, what are the mini projects you have implemented at your third year level, you can do the same kind of project in your final year for IoT, and you can use the IoT development boards over here. Because at your mini project, what you have done, you have selected your microcontroller, that is basic one, 89C51, or the basic one, okay, AVR and all these things. Instead of these controllers, you can use Raspberry Pi or Node EMCU, or you can have the ESP8266 or any kind of IoT development board and actuate certain things, means apply the knowledge to the IoT development board. Got it? In this way, you need to create your own small mini project, and that can be assessed by the examiner at the time of your practical examination. And we'll discuss what are the different experiments we'll be conducting or will be designing on IoT development board. Got it? The very first two practicals are based on the study experiments, because you are not at all aware about what are the different IoT cloud platforms are available, or what are the development tools are available, or the hardware platforms are available. So you should able to understand, because you need to do literature survey of it, isn't it? If you want to purchase a mobile phone, okay, so what you can always do, you can compare, you can have the comparative assessment of different mobile phones along with their specifications and all these things. In the same way, what is the name of your first experiment? The study and survey of various IoT development boards, sensors and actuators. Means what? You need to do the comparative assessment of what are the different IoT development boards are available in the market. Not only the IoT development board, what are the sensors are available market. Some of the sensors are analog in nature, some of the sensors are digital in nature, or some of the actuators are there. Okay, you should know each and every part of the IoT development board, sensors and the actuators. Why it is needed? Because unless and until you don't know the configuration or specification of the respective the development board, you won't be able to select it for your designing applications. Now take an example. You need to design the smart electricity meter. It is one of the application, isn't it? So you should know which sensor I can choose to sense the reading of my electric meter, isn't it? Now, not only that, but also which IoT development board I should select for processing of the small data which is received by the electric meter, isn't it? So I didn't require any kind of huge IT development processing platforms. A simple small ESP8266 can we can use it, isn't it? But instead of that, if I have a huge amount of data, I need to process it. In that way, in that case, I needed high processing capability IT development boards, isn't it? So that's why I have kept this particular study experiment, okay, to gather the relevant information regarding the tools available or the IT development boards and sensors and actuators available in a market, isn't it? So that you are getting a sufficient amount of idea how to use them, where to use them, in what cases, in what applications we can utilize them. Got it? Next one is the study and survey of various IoT cloud platforms. So not only the hardwares, you should able to know what are the different IoT cloud platforms are available in the market. As we have mentioned, the ThinkSpeak, then you can have the Blink's IoT, Blink.com is the very popular IoT cloud platform. Then after the ThinkSpeak, we can have the IO Fruit, IO Triple D, okay, or some AWS, Azure, Microsoft Azure. These are some of the IoT cloud platforms available. Some of them are private, some of them are public. Open source cloud platforms are there. So depends on your requirement. You should again do the comparative assessment. That's why I have mentioned here study and survey. You need to survey for various IoT development cloud platforms. That is the comparative assessment of all the platforms. Got it? Now after the second, now actual implementation starts from your third experiment. Okay, that is home automation using Node MCU and Blink IoT cloud platform. So I need to operate any device in your home, okay, with the help of the Node MCU and a Blink IoT cloud platform. So Blink IoT cloud platform, you can install the applications also in your mobile phone and configure it based on the sensor interface to your Node MCU, and with a single click you can turn on the fan or turn off the fan or turn on the lights or any devices or appliances at your home, isn't it? So that is the home automation is your first basic experimentation in your experimental list. Second one, the humidity and temperature monitoring using Node MCU and Blink IoT cloud platform. Now see, in agricultural field, I want to measure the humidity and temperature of the soil or environment, isn't it? So with the help of Node MCU hardware platform and Blink cloud platform, how I am going to develop this application. So on my mobile phone, I can use the Android application to see the real-time humidity and temperature parameters, isn't it? That would be your second experimentation. Third one is the humidity and temperature, again the same application, but in this case, instead of the Blink cloud platform, I am using here another cloud platform, that is a ThinkSpeak cloud platform, isn't it? So I need to implement these two application or the single application on two different IoT cloud platform. First on a Blink and second in a your ThinkSpeak cloud platform. Okay. Now the third one is the humidity and temperature monitoring using Node MCU in ThinkSpeak. Now see, up till this it is same in your prior one, but I have added certain extra clouds here. Now, what is the importance of this next cloud platform? So, IFTTT. IFTTT is a very well-known cloud platforms used in IoT. Now, IFTTT stands for it's a if this then that. Okay, if the any input condition satisfies, it will perform a specific task. Okay, so just like your if else statement in your C programming. If this is happened, then it will execute this statement. If this is wrong, then it will not be executed. Okay, in this way, you can have IFTTT cloud platform and Adafruit IoT cloud platform. And why I am going to use it? To get the notifications through email, calls and SMS. So in what cases I'll be getting the notification? Take an example. Suppose I want to develop one application, suppose a fire detection system. In fire detection system, if there is a fire, then what happened? The temperature in a room increases, isn't it? So what happened? The temperature sensor, suppose I have used here DHT11 sensor, it will be detecting that particular temperature. If that temperature exceeds certain level, that is a thresholding level, automatically I'll get the information on my mobile phones or by emails or by SMS or by call, that is there is a fire in this particular room, isn't it? So for getting the notifications, I'll be using the IFTTT and Adafruit. These are the two cloud platforms. Got it, all of you? Now your seventh one. Now see, your seventh experiment is same as that of your third one, that is the home automation system, but now I have added only a simple one, that is voice operated, that is voice based home automation using Node MCU. And now see, I am going to use here the Google Assistance of your mobile phone, Adafruit and IFTTT. Everything will be incorporated in this particular experiment. Okay, so depends on your the voice commands sent, okay, to the Google Assistance, we are able to operate any device in your mobile, in your the home, isn't it? So we are going to use this as one of the experiment. Next one is the motion detection based home automation for enhancing the security system in notification. Okay, here notification, whenever I am saying the notification, you need to use the IFTTT and Adafruit compulsory. Unless and until you configure it, you'll never get the notification. Got it? And for motion detection, we need to use again the which sensor. Can anybody tell me for detecting the motion, which sensor can be utilized? You can write your answer in a chat box. For detecting the motion, we can use which sensor? Yes? Anyone? I think in mini project you might be studied the motion detection based sensors. PIR stands for is a proximity infrared sensor. Here also I have mentioned it. Okay, so for detection of human, okay, we are going to use the PIR sensor, isn't it? Any motion can be detected with the help of the PIR based sensor. But take an example how you can use it to enhance the security. If there is a unwanted kind of motion is detected, isn't it? Immediately you are getting information in the form of notifications on your mobile phones. Okay. In this way, we are going to design the experiment based on the PIR sensor. Next one, now see, I am going to use DHT11 sensor, that is the humidity and temperature sensor. And now I am using the hardware platform, IoT platform as a Raspberry Pi. Now, if I'm writing the code in Raspberry Pi, you should aware about the Python coding, isn't it? So in your Node MCU, you can easily go for the Arduino IDE, isn't it? Write the code in C, Arduino C, and now you can execute it. For Raspberry Pi, you need to strictly go for the Python coding, isn't it? Now, along with the ThinkSpeak IO, Adafruit are the same one. Okay, you need to get the notification. You need to use varieties of IoT development. Cloud platforms are there, but you need to interface with the Raspberry Pi now, isn't it? Now here the task is same, but the contents are changed, architecture is changed. And finally, I have added one the content beyond syllabus, that is the implementation of smart television using Raspberry Pi. So in this experiment, we will going to create your ordinary television into smart one. Nowadays, every televisions are coming smart, but traditionally, whatever the televisions are available, CRT servo, CRT based, you can make them smarter with the help of Raspberry Pi. If I'm interfacing it with the help of VGA port or HDMI port, we can easily make them smarter, isn't it? So these are the some of the contents of your experimentations, isn't it?